Good morning, students. Myself, Dr. Ritika Agarwal. I'm an associate professor in School of Management, BBD University. Today, I will be taking a topic on corporate governance, which relates to the paper Business Ethics and Human Value of a Code BBA 4503. First, we will discuss the concept of governance. Governance is the term for the way a group of people, such as a country, do things. Many groups create a government to decide how things are to be done. Governance is different from politics. Students, before starting with discussing that what is corporate governance, I'd like to tell you about governance. Governance comes from the term governing authority. So every organization always have a centralized governing authority which manages a company in the way in which it operates. So corporate governance is actually a system of practices and processes by which a firm is directed and controlled. Now we will take the definition part of the corporate governance. If you talk about corporate governance in the terms of definition, it refers to the accountability of the board of directors to all stakeholders of the corporation. The stakeholders, they include shareholders, employees, suppliers, customers, and society in general towards giving the corporation a fair, efficient, and transparent administration. Now, as you can see on the screen, these are the listed down definitions on corporate governance to list a few. First, we will start from the Cadbury Committee. Cadbury Committee defined corporate governance as a system by which the companies are directed and controlled. Corporate governance has to with power and accountability. The second definition listed down is the definition which is given by N.R. Narayan Murthy Committee on Corporate Governance in the year 2003, which was constituted by SEBI. They have observed that corporate governance is the acceptance by management of the inalienable right of shareholders as the true owners of corporation and of their own roles as trustees on the behalf of the shareholders. The third listed down definition is given by Confederation of Indian Industry, which has defined corporate governance as CG. It basically deals with the laws, procedures, practices, and implicit rules that determines the company's ability to take informed managerial decisions through claimants like shareholders, creditors, customers, state, and the employees. So we can say, and we can just summarize the definition of corporate governance, that corporate governance is basically the system by which the companies they are directed and controlled. Corporate governance is the accountability of the board of the directors to all the stakeholders of the corporation. Now, the second thing which we will be going to discuss is why corporate governance is required in organizations. I have listed down some basic points which I will be discussing later. Better access to external finance, lower cost of capital, interest rates on loans, improved company performance, sustainability, higher firm valuation and share performance, reduce risk of corporate crisis and scandals. So, as per discussion, that these are the basic reasons why corporate governance is required. The first point is better access to external finance. See, if the corporate governance in any organization is firm, it is built up, and it is focused, then the company always has an advantage to number of channels for external financing, way back it's public or private. The second thing is lower cost of capital, interest rates on loans. The company has an advantage to deliver lower cost of capital, interest loans on loans if the company have a firm corporate governance in respect of its structure. The third point relates to improved company performance, sustainability. See, any company performance is actually managed by its profit shares and its stakeholders. So the company performance is improved a lot if the company is sustainable in the terms of corporate governance. Corporate governance, of course, which manages, relates to the governing authority, which manages the company. So if the management is efficient, the performance will automatically improve. The next point relates to higher firm valuation and share performance. If the profit making companies are performing efficiently, it will result in the higher firm valuation and share performance. So both of these are the explicit indicators for the company who are performing good. And this will result in a shared structure which results into a corporate performance reliability. The next point is reduce risk of corporate crisis and scandals. So efficient corporate governance in any corporation results in the reduced risk of corporate crisis and scandals, which is not efficient for any functioning of the company. So these are the listed down reasons that why the corporate governance is required in any organization. Now we will discuss that what are the four pillars of corporate governance. Students, if we talk about in the terms of pillars, we have four pillars of corporate governance. Like you can see, it's accountability, fairness, transparency, and independence. So if the organization have all the four pillars, accountability, I mean to say in the terms of responsibility which the management holds towards all its stakeholders, fairness in the terms of equity with the management holds towards the discretion and the decision towards all its stakeholders, transparency in the terms of laws, procedures, and policies which should be always clear in terms of stakeholders. Independence. The management should give the independence and freedom for the employees and the stakeholders to take decisions on their own. Now, in this particular slide, you all can see the principles of corporate governance, which I have shown through pictorial representation. These are the principles of corporate governance, like you can see. We have the board of directors and committees, legal and regulatory framework, organizational hierarchy, monitoring and internal control, transparency and accountability, policies and procedures. Now let's start with the discussion of the principles. Now you can see the first principle is lay solid foundation for management and oversight. In this case, the board is responsible for the oversight of the bank, including its control and accountability system, appointing and removing the MD, the deputy managing director, executive directors, and the senior management, the formulation of policy, the input into and final approval of management's development of corporate strategy and performance objectives, and last, reviewing and ratifying the systems of risk management and internal compliance and control, codes of conduct, and legal compliance. The next point relates to the structure the board to add value. The group should always ensure that should be a balance of independence, diversity of skills, knowledge, experience, perspective, and gender among the directors. It should have a board of effective composition, size, and commitment to adequately discharge the responsibilities and duties. So, as the corporate governance totally relies on the management, totally relies on the governing authority, so it is the responsibility of the board of directors to see that any sort of inequity doesn't take place. The third point is promote ethical and responsible decision making. The board should always ensure that the bank promotes ethical and responsible decision making and should comply with all the relevant policies, laws, regulations, code of best business practice using the group ethics and operating principles. See, now it students, it is the responsibility of the board, I mean to say the governing board, who always ensures that ethical decision making should be there, with keeping in mind all the relevant policies, laws, regulations, and codes of best practices. The next point is safeguarding integrity in financial reporting. The board should have a structure in place to independently verify and safeguard the integrity of the holding company's financial reporting, which is including the internal audit department, headed by the chief internal auditor, and the establishment, as required by law, of the audit committee to which the chief internal auditor reports. Then the next point is make timely and balanced disclosure. See, students, disclosure comes in transparency. So it is the responsibility of the governing authority to always make timely and balanced disclosure. The board should promote timely and balanced disclosure of all the material matters concerning the bank. To achieve this, the bank has put in place structures designed to ensure compliance with the relevant legislations and to ensure accountability at a senior management level for that compliance. The next in this series is respecting the rights of the shareholders. The board should always respect the right of the shareholders and facilitates them for the effective exercise of those rights. To conclude, the board should have the responsibility for ensuring that a satisfactory dialogue with the shareholders should take place. Thank you so much for today's discussion, students. Hope the things have been clear to all of you, and it was nice teaching you. Thank you so much.